From our very ancient past in Australia, there have been evidences and stories of visitations from higher beings from other sister worlds. Like most tribal cultures throughout our world, planet Earth, or Gaia, as some call her, many stories have been told and passed down the lineage of elders from original tribal people. From an ancient past, some more ancient than others. There are evidences of our own original tribal people have an important significant past, here in Australia. The ancient ruins and technology surpasses present technology, in very basic, more organic ways. The dating of the ancients is perhaps far more older than is being suggested by the many who have tried to time date, or estimate as to when early events took place. What has been suggested or pointed to, with some evidences by the archaeologist researcher, Stephen Strong from Australia, is that the Aboriginal culture is one of the most ancient, being hundreds of thousands of years old. This is a more likely proposal from my point of view, since my realization with the infinite and our immortal nature. The indigenous lineage have connections to the star people from the Pleiades constellation, Seven Sisters as sometimes known, has been confirmed to me when I was chatting to one of my Aboriginal rugby friends about this subject. He knew everything about it. Being from the Bundjalung region, which most likely the area of first arrival, landed and made first contact with the higher, more evolved people from the Pleiades system. Their purpose was to interbreed and help the human beings or original inhabitants of Earth of that time to accelerate their own evolutionary process by introducing the higher, more capable intuitive blood codes which connect to nature universally. The higher evolved DNA through this relationship apparently worked well, because the eventual result of the mix produced a 12-strand DNA or 6-double helix, which in turn makes a person naturally healthier and stronger with a much higher connection mentally and physically with nature. Much more intelligent and ready to evolve much quicker throughout the time sequence. The people flourished internally and externally, their own technologies being unique to that time. This introduction, I believe, began about as long as 500,000 years ago, but started to flourish and peaked possibly 350,000 years ago. I also am led believe that this early civilization, that was enhanced by our connection to the Pleiadians, was first established in Bundjalung territories, particularly at the base of Mount Warning and North Coast ranges toward Wiangri NSW. The evolved early society was unique, and I describe this as being the first kingdom of the new race of humans. As technology advanced and the years passed into hundreds, thousands, then hundreds of thousands to the present day, much has happened to resident humans on our planet Earth. This particular segment of life we hold as modern human civilization is actually in a technology rise and a less spiritual focus right now. Distraction, separation, and socially conditioning people away from their true nature to self-evolve naturally. I believe we can turn the table of lies and rise together in spirit to challenge the underlying darkness of deception. We are still under this old manipulation and programming to people en masse from these negative beings. The veil must be lifted. Time is running out for our children. We can turn this around on its head. The original gardeners of the earth have let free will guide the growth of humanity, but now it is in danger of itself. The negative agendas and lies must go. It's time to catch up to the light of knowledge and love. To self-evolve. The glorious and very ancient past is not even a distant memory in the mist of time. Evidences have been destroyed or minimized to only hypothetical mythology. The more recent civilizations, being the Egyptian, along with the various magnificent structures around the planet, are, I believe, just the remains of a higher civilization that originally existed from the first kingdom in Australia. As their technology grew and evolved, so did their curiosity spread to other lands. There are some evidences of ancient hieroglyphs in Australia dated before the pyramids of Egypt. I'm not the only one saying this, but evidences aren't coincidences. They point to fact. The timeline of our human evolvement from a few 100,000 years ago with 6 double helix in our DNA to 1 double helix is an interesting scenario of unfortunate timeline events. I think from about 300,000 years ago, the gradual negatively influenced manipulation and degradation of human DNA steadily declined our natural abilities to communicate with nature. Finally, in another turnaround for the evolved ancient ones, besides natural disasters, there were the negative beings from another star system with their own agendas for humanity. Completely opposite to the Pleiadians, our original seed bearers of positive light and freedom. I cannot explain everything about what exactly happened back in the very ancient days, but I know one thing. When I was awakened the second time, the now and forever exists, and in our infinite nature of higher self, much can be perceived and known. However, you do not always understand it, it just is, because it is so profound. The time in the greater beyond is not the same as earthbound time. When you access this in the now, living that moment seems to give you a glimpse into eternity, so time is measured differently or not measured at all. Time flies when you're having fun. You have heard of this expression. It's like this, in living the now time. You're present in real reality and you know the truth. Because the truth has set you free. from our ancient past. We arrive today observing volatility of nature unable to preserve its own, including humanity,